these on your own. This is on the honor system. Now, what I saw from somebody in my first hour, which was absolutely wonderful, they didn't even worry about their answer first. They flipped it over to the back, and they put down all the work that I did. That way they knew they had all the correct work. Then they flipped it over and checked their answer. That way they have the correct answers, because do I give you warm-ups that are often very similar? Yeah, so this is a good idea. So I liked what they did. So number one is an equation. We solve this equation based off of the steps that we've already done, which are in the back of the room or in your notes. Step one, find the balance point. The balance point's always at my equal sign. I'm going to move this a little bit. Let's see, because there's a lot of glare. Let's see. A little better, okay. So now I'm going to distribute, because it says distribute if needed. That means multiply. So 3 times 2x is 6x. 3 multiplied by negative 6 is negative 18. So far, so good. But I've got to distribute on the other side, too. 4 times 2x is 8x. 4 times a positive 3 is positive 12. This step, almost all of us got correct. We feel confident with distributing, right? Step 3 says combine all like terms on the same side. So on the same side, I've got a coefficient and a variable and a constant. Can I combine my coefficient and variable with a constant? No. Coefficient, constant, nope. So we're now to step 4. Combine the variables on opposite sides. Leanna, what are my variables on opposite sides? 6x and 8x. What was the hint that I told you? Which one should we always move? The smaller number. That way we have a positive variable. 6x's is smaller than 8x's. So remember, we're using the inverse of addition and subtraction. Positive 6x, so I'm subtracting 6x. And even though we're subtracting 6x, this is the additive inverse problem. 6x plus a negative 6x is 0. Negative 18 comes down. That leaves me negative 18 equals 2x's plus 12. Step 5 says combine constants on opposite sides using the inverse operations of addition and subtraction. Do I want to move this negative 18 to the side with the variable, or the 12 away from the variable, Parker?
You want to move the 12 away from the variable.
Good. The goal is to isolate the variable, so we're moving the 12 away. So we're using the inverse of addition and subtraction. So Charlie, if I have a positive 12, what do I do to get rid of it? Beautiful, sir. Subtract 12 from both sides. And this is where I saw the biggest mistake. I saw some of you subtracting and then putting positive 6. Use your calculators. Negative 18 minus 12 more is negative 30. That leaves me negative 30 equals 2x. The last step is isolate the variable using inverse operations of multiplication and division. Isolating the variable. So I'm going to divide by 2 on both sides. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1x equals negative 15. This is fine, but I had kids say, well, what if I have x equals negative 15? And that's a lie. No kid said, what if I had this? I've had kids in the past ask. Both of these are the same. It's called the reflective property, but it doesn't matter. If you have either of those, it is correct. Questions so far? Put a thumbs up in front of your chest if you got this one, because I saw a couple people who got that. Okay. Number 2, and this is probably the most important problem for today. We are going to spend a lot of time today substituting. When I substitute in, we're using parentheses. So if x is 2, I put 3 parentheses 2, not 32. It's 3 times x. So it's 3 times 2. Minus 4 times my y is 4, plus 1/2 times 2. And some of you stop there. Don't. We're not done simplifying. Keep working through the problem. 3 times 2 is 6, minus 4 times 4 is 16, plus 1/2 times 2 is 1. Don't stop. We're not done simplifying. Get your calculators. Every single one of us can do this. So get your calculator, do 6 minus 16 plus 1, and raise your hand once you have your answer. So 6 minus 16 plus 1, and raise your hand. You're turning your calculator towards me. I'd suggest doing it again. I understand what it says. I'd suggest doing it again. Chris.
-9.
-9. Did you get the same thing, or did you get?
Oh, I got it. I'm just doing it in my head.
Okay. Questions. Okay, so again, some of you got the first 2 correct. Awesome. I'm at a loss for number 3 because would you say we've done this 5 times? Questions like this? Would you agree? Would you say we've done questions like this 10 times? We're probably pushing 20 times that we've done scientific notation on warm-ups. Like really, we're at like 20 times. So when we have this, we are separating it into 2 problems. It's a division problem. So I'm going to take my constant portion and do 3 divided by 4 times the base portion, which is 10 to the 8th divided by 10 to the 3rd. Still with me? 3 divided by 4 is?
0 and
What is?
Perfect. 0 and 75 Awesome job saying it correctly too. And I love that you have the 0 and 75 That's very cool. Then, what do we do when we are dividing like bases? The smarter of the 2 Kitchels. Oh, Charlie, she just said, watch this. I'm the smarter of the 2 Kitchels. Oh man, Charlie, I'm never going to let you live that down. That's so awesome. Go ahead, Emma.
we keep the bases and subtract the exponents.
We keep the base and add the exponents. Charlie, I think you're both equally smart, just so you know. Just so you know. So we keep the base, we subtract the exponents. X minus 3 is 5, or 8 minus 3 is 5. Is this, in scientific notation, why or why not? Leanna?
No, because 7,500 is less than 1.
Very good. Our number needs to be at least 1, but less than 10, which means we need to take this decimal and move it to the right 1 place. That gives me 7 5/10 times 10 to the, when we move that decimal to the right, do we add or do we subtract from the exponent? Parker?
Subtract.
Subtract. So if you have these circled answers at the top of your page, you're putting either a 0 out of 3, a 1 out of 3, a 2 out of 3, or a 3 out of 3. Make sure your name's on the paper, and I will collect them. Thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry. She did that to you. Do I have everybody's paper? Okay, please get out your packets. Open up the page S51. If you do not have a packet, please raise your hand. I will gladly give you another one. The one that says Module 4, Lessons 1 through 11. Okay.
One through 11.
It's going to say Module 4, Lessons 1 through 11. That's what it says, yes. Then we're opening to page S51. Oh, perfect, because this is the last one that I have, Parker. You've got left. You're welcome, sir. Okay. Before we get started in this packet, you're also going to need a separate sheet of paper.
Oh, no.
You need a separate sheet of paper, or do you have one, or do you need one?
It's not that.
Okay. You can't see, I know. Okay, so you should have a packet. You should have a separate sheet of paper. Chris, do you need a separate sheet of paper? Leland, do you need a separate sheet of paper?
Yeah.
Charlie, do you need a separate sheet of paper? Emma, do you need a separate sheet of paper? Okay. Smart. Oh, man. Okay. So come on over to my handy dandy blackboard. It's not quite a handy dandy notebook, but I watched a lot of Blue's Clues with my son over break. We're here. We are going over lesson 12 today. On Friday, we're going over lessons 14 and 15.
It's a piece of paper.
I know. We're going over lessons 14 and 15. Now, notice how it says review for the mid-mod 4 test. Only lessons 1 through 14 are on the test. 15 is not on the test. Lessons 1 through 14 are on the test. So even though we're doing 14 and 15 for Friday, 15 will not be on the test. Good? So next Tuesday, you're going to get your review packet. You're going to work on it. You'll have the video. It's our normal review. Thursday is the important day, at least for me. So Thursday is our Illuminate test. This goes back to our scores here. Okay, so why is the Illuminate test important? Well, it's not to you. But it's important to me for 2 reasons. Reason number 1 is you are going to have your map test at the end of this year. Okay? The Department of Education in Missouri said, nope, you're still taking the map test even though the school year is not exactly traditional. So you're going to have that. We didn't know, and now we do. This is a good test right now for me to see who's on track to pass. I mean, we've done with half of the year. Let's see where our scores are, because this is going to show me who's going to pass. Fair enough? Second reason why it's important is all about me. Go figure, it's all about me. And I'm going to break it down into 3 categories. 1, it tells me, okay, what did I not teach well? 2, what do I need to teach differently? 3, should I still be teaching? Because on the first test, we scored an average of 26.4% as pre-algebra as a whole. Not just this class, all of my pre-algebra students, which is about right. We weren't even a quarter of the way through the year. We are halfway through the year. I want the test scores to be between 45 and 55%. That's my goal. So let's say it's a 30% average for the class. I should find a new job. Because if I've only raised you 4%, what am I doing? Okay, so I take a lot of pride in the Illuminate test because I want to see what I'm doing. Fair enough? So my request for you is when you come in next Thursday is treat it like the map test. Put down questions on paper. Work through them. If it takes you longer than a class, so be it. It should not take you any less than 30 minutes. So if you just click answers, you're not really giving me a fair shake of what you're learning. Fair enough? So treat it like a map test. There's no stress for you because it doesn't count as a grade. It doesn't affect your shine classes, but it will help me guide the warm-ups and what I need to go back and teach. Fair enough? Okay, then after that, the following Tuesday, so this is Thursday. We don't have school that following Monday because it's Martin Luther King Day. So that following Tuesday is your test. Shoot, it's a lot of time between them. And then there's some other things. I'll always have things, but January, February, guess what? There's snow days. I don't like to get too far ahead, simply because one snow day this year affects not just one day, it affects 2 days because we have A and B.
Oh,
Yeah, I know. Okay? So it screws things up. Fair enough? Okay.
that's not.
So you are on page S51, or at least you should be. And it should say something like, first off, I want to see who watched the video and took notes. Nice.
I watched the video, but I didn't.
Will you see if Jaden can see these up close?
That would be wonderful. Jaden, can you see this?
That'll help.
I know. Okay, good. Yes, he can.
Perfect.
Okay, so those of you who didn't take notes and those of you who did, you're probably going to want to do this again anyway. Those of you who took notes weren't that many. We've got a table that has x, a linear equation that says x plus y equals 3, and y. Let me stress how important this module is. If you ask any of my algebra students, what do you do in algebra? They should tell you two things and really two things only. Man, we do a lot of equations and we graph a lot of lines. That's what Module 4 is for 8th grade. You are solving equations, which is what we did the whole first half of the module. And now we're going to learn how to graph linear equations. Okay? Look at the word linear. What word is embedded or in the word linear?
Line.
Line. When we graph a linear equation, it will be a straight line. If you've got some zigzag going on, guess what? You done screwed up. Okay? So linear equation. Notice how there's two variables. When we have two variables like this, there are multiple solutions. It's not like what you did on the warm-up where you have x equals 3. Well, x might be 3 and y might be 5. X could be 4, y could be 6. So every different x you have is a different y. It's a different input for an output. So what does that mean, Mr. H? Well, let's find out with this chart. So if you've already done this, you should have this on a separate piece of paper. Charlie, give me your favorite number between -1 and +1. No, start again. It can't be -1, it can't be +1, it has to be between them. Oh my God, Charlie, I love that number, 0. 0 is my first number. Here, would you like this? You can squeeze it, get a lot of the wind. There you go. Okay, so the reason why I can substitute in for x this time is do either x or y have a different coefficient? No, they're both 1, right? So when they're the same, I substitute in for x. Keep that in the back of your mind. When x and y have the same coefficient, I just substitute in for x. Keep that in there. So now we're going to substitute in to find y. So x we said was 0, so I put 0 plus y equals 3. So if it's 0 plus something equals 3, what does y have to be? 3. Yeah, it has to be 3. Wonderful. Is that hard? Okay. Chris, give me your favorite number less than 0, but bigger than -2, and it has to be an integer.
1.
Okay, so less than 0, bigger than -2.
-1.
Oh, man. -1. Awesome. Okay, let's substitute it in. So x is now -1 plus y equals 3. Okay, we don't like negatives, so what are we going to do? Well, I'm going to write it out to the side. I've got -1 plus y equals 3. Can we solve this equation? Is this something that we can solve for y? Okay, what do we need to do in order to isolate or get y by itself? Go ahead, Leland.
Move the 1 to 3 to get to +1.
Okay, so I'm going to add 1 to both sides. Good job. That leaves me y equaling 4. So when x is -1, y is +4. Camilla, give me a small positive number. 1, love it. Okay, so now I want you to substitute it in and get me my y value. So talk it over with the people around you. So you're substituting in 1. Show me how you're going to get that. Go ahead. So substitute it in. Show me how you're going to get that. Nice. Oh man, we are crushing it. Good. Good, 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 good. So I saw almost all of you have 1 plus y equals 3. I saw some of you write it off to the side. 1 plus y equals 3. I saw you subtract 1, and we had y equals 2. That's perfect. Love it. Questions so far? Okay, let's do one more. Chris. No, I already called on Chris. Nope. Charlie. I already called on you, didn't I? Bree, give me your favorite number. 3. That is, my favorite number is 7. They're really close. So 3 minus 7 is -4. One more time, do it. So we're substituting in -4. Could I have plugged in 3? Sure. I can choose any number I want, and it will give me a solution. Some are easier than not. So go ahead. So we're substituting in -4. Substitute in -4. Huh? Okay. Okay, so we should have -4 plus y equals 3. If I need to, I can bring it down and I can solve my equation. Add 4 to both sides. Y equals 7. Oh, man, that's easy, right? Okay. So, Mr. H, you said something about graphing. So I did. There is not a 4th column on your sheet. When I teach Cole this math, when I teach Eliana this math when they're old enough, I'm going to show them this. And it's called the ordered pair. Do you need to have an ordered pair? No, because it's right here given to us. But it makes it easier to see it all in one place. So if I have an x and a y value, I've got my ordered pair. So my first ordered pair is 0, 3. Kaylin, what's my next ordered pair?
-1, 4.
-1, 4. Chris, what's my third one?
1, 2.
1, 2. Good. Last one, Charlie.
-4, 7.
Beautiful. Now that we have ordered pairs, we can graph. Is my graph going to be as good as a graph that's on graphing paper? No, because I'm just making it up, right? On graphing paper, it's perfect. So is it going to be a little off? Probably. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So now I'm going to graph. When I graph these points, what should they form? Perfect. Huh?
A line.
A line, a straight line. So I go over 0, up 3. I go -1, up 4. I go over 1, up 2. I go -4, up 7. Okay. I'm a little off, but not too bad. This one's the one that's off. That's all right. Now notice what I'm going to do here. I'm going to put arrowheads on my line. The reason that we do this is this line extends forever. Well, what does that mean to us? Do we have a graph that goes to -100 on my x-axis? No. But can I have an answer for -100? Yeah, -100 plus y equals 3. That means y is going to be positive 103. So I would go over -100, up positive 103. That line means it goes forever. That's part of the solution. Everywhere this line touches is a solution to this equation. Everywhere the line touches is a solution. Question so far. Okay, so now we're going to go to that separate sheet of paper. On that separate sheet of paper, we're going to have x plus 3/4 y equals 2.
This one.
Okay. So remember how I said, were the coefficients different on that first one? Are the coefficients different in this one? Yeah. Which variable has a coefficient that is not 1? Which variable, Bree? Y. Can I substitute numbers in for x? Sure, but it'll make it tough to solve. We want to substitute numbers in for the variable that has the coefficient that's bigger. In this case, or not bigger, but that has a coefficient that's not 1. This one has the coefficient that's not 1, so we're going to substitute in for y. What number should we always start with?
0.
0. So the y is the one that has the coefficient that's not 1, so I substitute in 0. Notice how I'm substituting in for the y first. Okay, does that change anything? Nope. So watch what we're going to do here. We have x plus 3 divided by 4 times something equals 2. Why is it times something? Well, we've now substituted 0 in for y. What is 3/4 times 0? What's anything times 0?
0.
0. So 3/4 times 0 is 0. So what does x have to equal?
2.
2. Okay. Now, Miss Tucker already knows what's happening because I picked on her earlier. I know Miss Tucker a little bit at this point, and I know that Miss Tucker doesn't really like math. She doesn't. It's not her favorite. Okay, it's a combination of math and me, but that's all right. That's all right. But she really doesn't like fractions. I know that she really doesn't like fractions. I know that if I had a contest in this classroom and I put problems of nothing but fractions, the only person that would do really, really well on it is me. Most of you are a little bit timid of fractions. You're a little bit hesitant when you see fractions on a test. Would I agree? We don't like fractions. So we need to figure out a way when we substitute in to get numbers that are not fractions. And I'm going to teach you the trick to do so. So we're substituting in for y. When we have a fraction, the number that we're looking at is the denominator. What's the denominator of my coefficient?
4.
4. So we're going to substitute in 4. So when I do that, I have x plus 3 divided by 4 multiplied by 4 equals 2. And I'm going to bring it off over to the side so that I can actually solve it. So now I've got x plus 3/4 multiplied by 2. Nope, that's wrong. Multiplied by 4 equals 2. Get your calculators. Tell me what 3/4 times 4 is. And remember, 3/4 is 3 divided by 4. Raise your hands once you get it.
5/10.
Kaylin, what'd you get? 3. Positive 3. So now I have x plus 3 equals 2. Hey, who feels a little bit more comfortable, besides Miss Tucker, with this whole number? Yeah, I'd feel more comfortable solving this, and I like fractions, and I'd still feel more comfortable solving this. X plus 3 equals 2 is a problem that you probably solved in 6th grade when you first started equations. So we subtract 3 from both sides. That leaves me x equals -1. X is -1. Oh, okay, so wait a minute, Mr. H. You're telling me use the denominator? Absolutely. But on your test, which is not next Monday, two Tuesdays away, you're going to have to do this with 5 solutions. Count them, 5. So, man, I don't want to get big numbers. So what's the opposite of 4? If you look at your number line, what's the opposite of 4?
-4.
-4. So you're going to use both the positive and the negative of your denominator. So now I have x plus 3/4 times -4 equals 2. Go ahead and solve that, and then talk it over with somebody right next to you. Okay, give me a moose antler if we got x equaling 5. Questions on how we're getting that? Okay, Mr. H, we got a problem. We still need 2 more solutions. So this is where we use what's called multiples of the denominator. So an example of a multiple, multiples of 2. We take 2, we add another 2 to it. It's 4. We add another 2 to it. It's 6, 8, 10, 12. Well, we're dealing with 4. What's the first multiple of 4? Say 8, because you added 4 plus 4. So 4, 8, what's another multiple? 12, then 16. So the next number that we're going to use is positive 8. What should be the last number we use? Parker?
-8.
Very good. The opposite, which is -8. Go ahead and solve those last 2. You're doing this on your own. Solve those last 2. That's a long way down. Okay, check your work versus mine. Check your work versus mine. Give me a turkey nose if we got that one correct. So if you got both those numbers correct, give me a turkey nose.
I didn't hold them.
Okay, are there questions? Because I take your student surveys seriously. Some of you, one of my lower scores was, I don't explain things well when you're having trouble with it. So I've explained it my way. Is there anybody who's confused? Because I'd love to explain it a different way. Okay, if you're embarrassed to ask right now, send me an email. That way I can say, hey, come on in during RISE and I'll get you some help, okay? So now go to page S58, I think is what I said. Nope, S55. Go to S55. We have got 10 minutes left. You may work with a partner. You are doing just the table. So fill in just the table. Go.
How much am I?
Go to page S55, and you're filling in this table. Go ahead.
So what?
Well, okay.
Sure. I can't stop yawning.
Me too.
I'm just gonna sleep right now.
And I fell asleep.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh. Stuff like that.
It's mine. And I'm so tired. Why?
What number are we doing first?
Okay.
I have to do what? We have to substitute for y.
Choose the fixed values for x or y.
So we're doing the table.
I know, but I'm reading the question.
He said just the table.
Ask me a question. If I was reading it. You don't have to do those. I was just reading what that said because it said you're gonna choose to fix the x or y.
Oh. You have to substitute for y, don't you?
Yeah.
You want to do 2 first for y?
Hold on.
Please, you can use the denominator number 2.
Oh, I was like, wait a second. What? Yeah.
You can substitute 2. So, 3, 2. I got 3, so.
Oh, I know. I forgot you can do 0. Oops.
Oh, we gotta do 0. That's right. Dude. It's 0. So it'd be -2. Right?
I haven't even tried yet.
You fall asleep right now again? You not getting enough sleep last night?
Well, I kind of stayed up late. I had to do
I went
homework.
to bed at like 1:30, and then when I went to sleep, I couldn't sleep because I was uncomfortable. Okay, so
On what?
well, what's 3
Oh, it's
times
-3.
2? Is it?
It's -3 divided by 2.
Hmm?
Because it's x minus 3 over 2, but it's negative.
Oh, that's cringe. Should I do negative? Hold up. -3
Yeah, it's
times 0. It's 0. So the answer would be -2, wouldn't it? For the first one, since it's 0.
yeah.
We can do +2 next one. We got -3 divided by 2. -3, so -3 is 5. Hmm? You waking up again? That was what I was gonna do. He gave us numbers to use. I think I'm doing this wrong, but well, because you get -3, so you have to plus. Negative
It is negative.
2.
Okay.
Oh, it's 1. Okay, that makes sense. 1. There we go. Fixed.
We'll give you about 3 more minutes.
You figure it out. I'm probably wrong. Because it'd be.
That'd be 5.
No, because it's -2. Because you're adding 3. So it's -3 first. It was -3 first.
Hold on, I did -3 divided by 2 equals. Oh, wait, what?
I did it like that.
Hold on, it's -3 divided by 2 times 2.
It's -3.
Yeah, I was like, okay, -3. And then -3. And then you have to.
Yeah, it's -3, then you add it.
Plus 3 is going to be -2.
+3. Your brain ain't working, is it?
I was like, wait, it's 5.
I'm seeing a lot of great work, folks. Really proud of you.
-2 minus 3. This one's -5 though. This is fun. Ah!
It always is negative.
Hmm?
Negative 2, negative 2, negative 2. I can't find the right numbers in my calculator. I can't do anything right.
You're tired.
Okay, so I will always choose 0, but why did I choose to substitute into the y's? What reason did I substitute into the y's? Go ahead.
Because y has a coefficient
Coefficient.
greater than 1.
That's not 1. Y has a
Yeah.
coefficient that's not 1, so that's why we're substituting into y. I always choose 0. Why did I choose 2? Go ahead, Lana. Yeah, 2 is my denominator. So, of the coefficient, which means I choose the opposite. Why did I choose 4 and negative 4? Parker?
Because
Starts with an M.
it's a multiple of 2.
And it's a multiple of 2. Awesome. So now, this leaves me with negative 3. I add 3, so that's 1. This is 0. That gives me negative 2. This is going to be positive 3. That gives me negative 5. This is negative 6. Add 6, positive 4. That's positive 6. Subtract 6. That's negative 8. Give me a flex if you got these correct. Nice job, folks. Are there questions on this? You will also have to graph those for your homework. So now, you have 2 videos for homework. Lesson 14 is in the package that you already have. Miss Blair, you can go back to seats, please. Miss Blair was very kind and made you a sheet to do notes on because you have to graph. So she gave you graph paper. So lesson 14 is in the packet that you have right now. It will also be on the test. Lesson 14 is on the test. So what does that mean about lesson 15? It's not on the test. This next packet has lesson 15 and everything that will be on your end of module test. So you have 2 videos already in Google Classroom, plus there will be a live video just in case you're confused about what we need to be doing. Did I already give you this?
Yeah.
Okay. Did I already give you yours? Okay.